In this video, I have my first impressions and a solve of the Diansheng 8x8. This is an early sample, and CubeWorks only has one copy, so I couldn't borrow it for an in-depth review. I only solved it in the shop. I actually had 3 attempts solving this cube. The first 2 were around 620, which is comparable to what I would be getting on my current main, which is a self-magnetized MF8 with the Yixing Unicorn King 4x4 springs. The third solve is the one that you are watching right now, and it is actually my new personal best single. It beat a 537 from my MF8, which has been standing for more than 1.5 years. Bear in mind, this is just my first impressions from solving the cube 3 times, and my final opinion might change. I feel that the Diansheng 8 feels like a mix of the Meilong 8 and a gun cube. It has some hollowness and lightness of the Meilong, and the honeycomb feel reminds me of the gun cubes. Even though I've never really tried a gun cube in ages, so it's probably reminding me of a 2018 gun cube if that's the case. The magnetic strength is quite weak, which I definitely do enjoy. It's enough to be felt, and enough to keep the cube stable and the layers aligned, but it's not enough to constantly annoy you with a snap snap snap. The stability is quite close to an MF8, but the MF8 is slightly more stable than the Diansheng. And this is actually a good thing because the MF8 is a brick and the marginally higher flexibility of the Diansheng is nice. The reverse corner cutting is very minimal. It's enough to avoid situations where the cube looks aligned but actually has something catching on the surface. But it's not enough to visibly misalign the cube and then snap it back into alignment like some of the top tier 6x6s and 7x7s. I would say that the reverse corner cutting is comparable to the MF8 in this regard. Here's a quick sample of how the cube sounds, and after that, I will just fast forward the rest of the solve and end the video with a look at a few pieces and do some size comparisons.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Also, I forgot to mention earlier, but the turning speed of this cube is also really nice. It's quite a lot faster than the MF8. My MF8 is spring swap and it has been sped up by a lot compared to an original unmodded MF8, and the Diansheng 8x8 is actually even faster than that. So I actually took an edge out, and it's quite clear that this cube has at least 2 shells. There's an outer 8x8 shell and an inner 5x5 shell, just like the Meilong, MF and Qi 8x8s. I couldn't take a corner out because I didn't want to disassemble the cube too much, but considering how strongly the corner is rooted in there, I highly suspect that there is a third inner 3x3 shell as well. And if you don't understand what these shells are, you can watch my Meilong 8 versus MF8 comparison video. The edges look extremely similar to a 2018 gun cube. They have a honeycomb pattern, a black internal with stickerless coloured caps, and the magnets are held in place by coloured capsules. I don't think the capsules are colour coded for strength, but it is colour coded for the pieces which they belong to. So while I described the feel of the Diansheng 8 as a mix of Meilong 8 and gun cube, the mechanism also looks like that as well. Finally, for the size comparisons, I didn't bring my vernier calipers with me, but I heard from multiple sources that the size is either 67.5 or 68 millimeters. So first, I have the MF8. This is 69 millimeters, which is slightly bigger. Next, the Qi 8x8 is 70 millimeters and obviously bigger. And finally, the Spark 7x7, 66.5 millimeters and slightly smaller.